LGD, I think rightfully so, take the Ember Spirit. I don't think you want to risk giving up Invoker with the Ember Spirit. It does kind of cause problems because Void's still in the pool as well. The Void Invoker kind of combo is, I don't see any reason IG would not go for the Void here, Seb.
Just pick Silencer support, man. Every time you see a Chrono, just be like, sorry, no follow-up for you. Silence.
They can definitely get a Void. It's great versus Ember Spirit. It's a really good way to lock him down.
Yeah.
Would be a good pick for IG. I would agree. I don't understand the Viper pick that early. Maybe they assess that it's a good way to keep the Invoker mid, so they make sure it's safe lane. I think it's a bit early to get the Viper, but they must have a plan. So obviously we'll figure this out later on. I like the decision from IG to take first pick the Invoker. You know, it's that kind of. This is the first series where there is one key hero for both teams. It's gonna happen more and more in the tournament, I think, because both teams are gonna know each other better. But right now, it's actually we can see that it's all about the Invoker. Who gets the Invoker and then feels more confident.
Yeah, starts off with the second pick and just gradually gets elevated in priorities. So.
Yeah, so they want the Invoker more than the Ember. So that's only because LGD uses that Invoker really well, as you mentioned earlier.
They also know LGD don't really want Void. It's not a hero they've ran that much. It doesn't really suit their style necessarily that well. So.
And this is what I like about LGD is that they don't draft a hero because it's drafted in the tournament. They just draft what they want to draft. And we've seen many teams draft that Void, and they never did before international. So LGD isn't that kind of team. It's maybe what brought them that far.
Well, they've played a lot of Viper. That's been probably one of Lin's most played heroes throughout the tournament. So I think for LGD, it's like stick to their strengths. They've gone for this like fast mech rush on the Viper and just 5-man take down towers, and it is hard to do so against a Void kind of Chronosphere plus Invoker Sunstrike, and that's exactly what's coming their way. But if you tank up enough, maybe.
That might work. The face of Void, it's surprising that it took IG so long to pick that hero. They first picked it the 2 games before, and they used a lot of extra time for that. Maybe they're just trying to think what's going to happen after. They knew they want to pick Void. They're just trying to use the time they have to actually try to figure out LGD's draft.
And the fact that LGD, you know, they were okay giving it away. There was always the option. It's like, you know, are they going to fall into a trap? And said, you know, I said Silencer support. I feel like a madman when I say that. But come on, tell me it could work.
I really like the Silencer idea. Actually, for both teams to work. No, it's not. It's not only me supporting you. I really think that Silencer is a hero that has been forgotten. He was used a lot prior to the tournament. He was used in the tournament as well, but not as much as it was before. So it might appear at one point. I like the Pugna ban against IG. It's a must ban, to be honest.
I think the biggest thing that's changed throughout the tournament is it used to be towards the start of the tournament, even leading up to TI, teams would be focusing on picking at least one or two supports in the first pick stage. That's completely changed, and we're seeing core heroes picked up right off the bat. Is there any real reason you think that is, Seb?
To be honest, when it came, I mean, it's a lot of teams like IG and LGD because they are versatile. They can adapt their lanes. You know, like sure they pick 2 cores. Usually you're like they revealed a lot. They didn't reveal anything since Void can go on 3 lanes, Invoker on 2. So they can switch around exactly how they want. So it doesn't matter much. You know, usually you pick supports because they're good anyway, and those heroes Void and Invoker, they can deal against. I mean, they can deal with any sort of lineup.
Yeah.
So, also, there was a time where, for example, Venomancer was the key support, and everyone would try to secure that one because if they didn't get in the top 2 picks, they would be banned in the second stage. The same happened with Shadow Demon a long time ago. Mirana is kind of like the other one, which surprisingly has been skipped in the ban. IG was hoping to get that, but LGD snatched it first. So right now it seems that all these key heroes that people need are these cores, and supports, well, they're pretty much replaceable.
I don't know, man. Like supports, like they left Skywrath Mage in. I mean, surely that's a hero for Invictus Gaming that adds a little bit of combo, and the silence for the Ember Spirit could be huge if it's going to get down to those team fights. I think that leaving these supports a little bit later gives you a lot of intel. You're trying to get as much information out of your opponent before maybe the supports come in. LGD picked Mirana, Seb. It takes it away from Invictus Gaming. Do you think that was a concern, or do you think they actually just won it?
No, to be honest, it's really good with Ember. Like, it's a good setup as well. Maybe not as good as Chrono, but it's still a really good setup. And if you're going to deny it from IG, then, you know, you're doing 2 things at the same time. So that's great for them. What I really like about this series is that, like, if you compare it to the other we had earlier, the 2 teams look to have, let's say, a similar playstyle, and they favor same heroes. So it's actually a mind game. It's a mind game right now between Faith and Yao. They're just, you know, stealing heroes from each other, but it's in a good way because they can actually put them to good use. Whereas Navi versus Sinai was more like, we have our plan, you have yours, you get your heroes, you get ours, and we face each other. This is really a really different matchup.
Yeah, it's been the first battle of wits. Like even EGDK was the same thing like Cloud9 Navi. They just both picked their own heroes.
It's the first time we get such a series. It's really interesting.
And that Skywrath Mage with Invoker was the combination that allowed LGD to dominate IG on game 1. It's now going to be IG getting them both and see if they can actually execute it in the same way. They don't have a center though. Still they can get it if they decide to go for the Faceless Void as a more of a farming role, or maybe just put in the center somewhere else other than the offlane. But the thing about that is that LGD knows that poison very well. They played that before. They understand how the line is played. So if LGD can now adapt, with the Ember Spirit being so mobile, it's going to be harder to land those Chronosphere, not the Chronosphere, the Sun Strikes and the Mystic Flare, unless you have a Chronosphere. Viper is naturally tanky against Mystic Flare because it has magic resistance built in, and Mirana leaps. So LGD will have a kind of tanky slash mobile lineup. And with the Vengeful Spirit, it has more mobility as well, because if someone's in trouble, if someone's trapped on that Chronosphere, you can swap them in seconds.
Exactly.
No more damage.
The Vengeful Spirit is genius right now because IG's plan is the same they had the 2 games before, right? It's we're gonna chrono one guy and burst him down with laundry and nukes. And I was actually trying to think of heroes that can actually stop that. Silencer was an option, like Bruno, like James mentioned.
Hi Bruno.
Hi James.
I mean, it's definitely an option because you can silence the Skyras and the Invoker. Venge is even a better option, a safer option. Now the Void has to get Venge in the chrono if he wants it to be effective.
Yeah, and even if you like swap out the Venge dies, the new Vengeance Aura change means that you get the minus physical damage, which if there's a follow-up fight, you don't have the damage to kill a Viper, to kill an Ember Spirit.
Especially because they have a right-click physical damage lineup, like Invoker, Void, Alchemist.
Yeah, but it affects like even the forward spirits. Like everything's doing less damage here. So you want to try use the physical damage to your advantage. That's Vengeful Spirit's really nice pick here. IG again, you're going to go for the Alchemist. Worked out well with Faith in the second game, and we'll see if it can happen again.
It's really funny because the IG lineup is actually almost the same as LGD had the first game, so they definitely favor the same heroes. Yeah.
And the thing about LGD is that Vengeful Spirit aura, which is also so helpful because when you die it gives a minus aura to your opponent, it's going to do a lot here because all of these heroes are right-clicking essentially. Ember Spirit with a Sleight of Fist will get the advantage from the aura. Viper with those right clicks, the lower HP the other enemies have, the Toxin does more damage, and on top of that, of course not the plus damage, but from his base damage he will get amplified from Vengeful Spirit. And even Mirana, which might be playing a support, is not going to go great. Now they have the center, which was the key component of that game 1. Are they happy with this?
I think it's a great pick. I mean, Tide was also in there as well, and I was like, are they going to go for a Tide and maybe we'll disrupt the team fights? But Center maybe even going to be stronger just by giving everybody that movement speed. So positioning is key for LGD. Stopping those combos is key. Center gets online and can help stop the combos.
This is a very aggressive draft as well. Like they're going to be looking to fight before IG pick up key items. And Invoker takes a while to actually come online and be ready to fight. Often he's just split pushing until he has like his Necro 3. Doesn't really come to fights. And once Centaur gets Blink, LGD will have like a decent level in the Ember Spirit. Ember Spirit's not very item dependent. All he needs is that like level 10 stage and he's ready to fight. Viper with the fast makes same story.
Ooh, it's a breezy one. And with that, we add a lot of tankiness into that lineup as well, and stayability into the fight. So IG, they want a team fight and they want long, extended team fight so that they can take the most advantage out of the Alchemist and breezy one.
I think LGD should go aggressive in that game and try to contest IG safe lane because obviously Skyras and Alchemist are strong, but they are very squishy supports. They have almost no armor first level, so it's going to be interesting. And the approach they have to, like, we have to initiate the fight first. I'm pretty sure it's going to pay off because it's really the way to go when you're facing you're playing against the Faceless Void. Like, you need to open the fight so he can't actually get the best setup he wants.
Okay, well, everyone is now heroes. We can see what they're playing. Rabbit is going to be on the center.
I never saw her with hair, but it's actually pretty cool.
That's what the workshop did.
Yeah, great job, workshop.
Workshop guys. But yeah, any kind of favorites in the draft, the outcome of this? IG look very stable. Bristleback is the final pick.
LGD for me.
LGD.
Yeah.
I think IG. I like the Invoker Void again.
Well, we're going to be going into the game. So let's send over casters. I like LGD's lineup. It certainly is the lineup that could take them through and knock out Invictus Gaming. But Invictus Gaming, you just never know. They're a fantastic team. And let's send it over to some fantastic commentators.
Well, thank you very much, James. I'm so fantastic. I forgot my microphone, but I've got it now. I'm LD. I'm joined here by Lumi, and well, Lumi, let's get ready for a fantastic game number 3. We get underway. One of these teams will be eliminated after this match, and they'll still end with some good prize money, but all these teams looking for nothing less than first place. They won't settle for less, and LGD, they're the favorites for the analysts. Lumi, do you agree with that after seeing the draft?
I think it really comes down to where does Centaur lane up at? Is it a 1v1 on the safe lane? Is he in a 1v3 situation in off lane? Because a lot of this draft rides on the fact that Xiaotuji or Rabbit gets an early blink and is as effective as Lin was on game 1. If he does not do that, I think Centaur is much less effective as a hero. So to me, it comes down to that, and the early game scouting is going to be key. Early war being dropped down here by 430 next to the river. Seems like both teams is just doing that. So
yeah, with that,
looks like it's going to be a 1v3 on safe lane on Xiaotuji. So I don't think LGD is going to have the favorable trade, and thus I think IG is going to have the better early game and better mid game.
All right, with that being said, let's run through our lineups for Invictus Gaming, your TI4 champions, looking to be the first ever team to repeat. You've got Faith on the Alchemist. Towards the top lane, it'll be Luo handling the Invoker. On the bottom side of the map, we'll go 430 as the Faceless Void, and looks like he might be under some pressure. That leaves YYF on the solo mid, Bristleback, and a support Chuan Skyrath. We might have to hold on introducing LGD because already the smoke has come.
There's a double damage on the Mirana, but
who's going to strike first though?
Okay, it's going to be the backstab coming to the sun's going to hit right here. He does actually pop his shield though, so he's going to block a little bit of damage. Arrow will hit, but not exactly on the easiest to bring down target. In fact, the burst damage coming out from the Skyrath Mage is driving everybody away.
What an anticlimactic first blood attempt. 6 heroes mid, and we get nothing, Lumi. Just a few spells cast. It is a level 1 Flame Guard, which is pretty underwhelming against this Skyrath. That's just going to be one Arcane Bolt to remove it. But
it did block 50 damage. But what they really need out of the Ember Spirit was that chain to set up the Magic Missile, the arrow, and with the double damage from Mirana, they should have easily got the first blood. But it was IG that initiated and kind of got the term of the exchange. So both teams dodging a gank, I suppose. And it's going to be back to the lanes they go.
DDC is trying to threaten mid right now, but there's actually a Radiant Observer Ward here that spotted out his movement, so IG know what he's up to. He's not going to get the jump on mid. Doesn't mean he won't hit a great arrow, but there will be at least awareness from YYF that that arrow can come. And so IG, they want to neutralize this threat in their woods. They've got vision, they've got eyes on DDC right now, but he is up on the ramp. He's not in the easiest position to engage, but they're going to look for it. He doesn't have leave. And DDC might have walked a bit too close. The stun comes along with the nuke. Now a Sunstrike, and the Invoker showing that he can offer something to these ganks once again, but I don't know if they have the damage. Chuan's got to chase a bit deeper. He's got one more Arcane Bolt. He's just in range for it. The stun, it won't matter. First blood to IG. They needed every little bit of damage there to get it. And we see, once again, the Invoker, even if he's not winning his lane 1v1, can offer a lot elsewhere. They're not done yet, though. DD throwing out a stun towards Chuan. They were both fighting for the rune, but it's actually going to spawn top. In good news, it is a 1v1 top right now, and Rabbit is capitalizing. He's actually already 11-4. The Invoker only 4-2. This is somewhat expected at the early levels, but it means even if IG are losing elsewhere on the map, they can make it up with a fast blink.
What you didn't see on the screen was DD just suicided to Roshan because he was out of mana anyways. Quicker trip home to suicide to Rosh.
Yeah, and he'll be coming right back mid. Yep. So let's see if he can find any pickoffs. They finally have a point in Searing Chains. It's level 1, so you're only going to get the slight setup there that comes from the level 1 Searing Chains. Just 1 second, but it may be enough to, with a Magic Missile follow-up, to make something happen. But Chuan has other ambitions. He's in Viz, and he spots the movement. He sees 3 have gone towards mid, and well, he's going to at least be here to protect and maybe even to turn a fight.
The big difference from the 2 support is that on IG side, they have 2 level 2 supports here, and it looks like Faith is going to go for a pull. Meanwhile, the LGD support's just level 1, and that makes all the difference when the enemy's team support could fire off 2 spells. With that said, though, Chuan is very low in terms of mana, so I think IG support should just play a little bit safe.
This ward it's been more than worth its weight in gold. That ward has spotted at least 3 total heroes movements, and now IG smoking. This one I don't think was spotted. They were way up on the hill when it began.
Yeah, they smoked right next to the Ancient Pete.
And they're now going. They're looking for Rabbit here. Is he gonna
It's a very tough
spot it out in time? He's pretty tough, but if they get off a long duration Alk stun, I think they have the follow up here with Cold Snap and a Sunstrike to bring him down.
Yeah, the Acid Spray will make all the difference in terms of giving the extra damage, but...
And now LGD head top. It's been a game of constant rotations from both teams.
I think if I have low-level supports... Oh, looks like the goal's
The Courier's coming in. It might actually get picked off here if they don't find Rabbit. Can they get in range for a stun? Faith will stun himself to begin the fight. That's easy setup for DD if he wants to come in. Rabbit's looking. The arrow comes. Now the magic missiles. Oh, they can't connect in the air. They still get the kill. That self-stun really put Faith in a bind, and it all came down to the great movement by Rabbit, just heading towards the shop and causing him to stun himself.
They really needed that one because the two supports are falling off so much faster on LGD side. Now, ending up on the top, they could start going for a little bit of pull or start to threaten the Invoker. You can see that Lou is playing very defensive as a result.
But their cores are farming. You look across the board on CS and LGD, all 3 cores farming well. IG are still doing fine there. They Bristleback actually slightly ahead mid, and the other 2 getting decent CS, but they are leading in the lane.
Lou is really caught out of position. Magic Missile into a very easy arrow. The question is, where's the follow-up? We're going to need a little bit of body blocking. You see that Rabbit's coming in, double edge, and one more right click. Nice body block coming out from DD. Well played.
Yeah, they just needed a little bit of a block. So the Tranquil Boots let him get in range. Immediate double edge, securing the kill. And that is exactly the kind of fuel you want if you're Rabbit. You're now well on your way to your Blink Dagger. Tranquil Boots picked up, and he's got 900 gold. So at this rate, sure, you've had some nice movements early from IG, but we saw what the Centaur Blink can do in Game 1, and you're also looking at a fairly squishy IG lineup at this stage of the game. Out gets tanky later on when he gets his ultimate, but that isn't going to help you too much against the Centaur burst damage. 650 health. Obviously, Invoker is going to be squishy, and they are diving bottom with the Sunstrike. Chronosphere as well into Lin. They'll try to commit for this kill. The Viper called out, and it looks like he's got nowhere to go. They can't keep him alive. Even with the Stampede, he's still trapped in the trees. He'll throw out a solitary Viper Strike, but it won't save him. Meanwhile, mid, Yao being pursued a bit by YYF. They won't commit for a kill there. So a really nice kill from IG. They force out the first Stampede, and they still kill off the Viper, who was, until that point, dominating the Void in the bottom lane.
Maybe he should have ran north with the Stampede. Maybe would have gotten out of there, but probably not with the Alk stun.
Yeah, it may have been a moment of panic, but like you said, either way, there's still an extra stun to follow up, and that's really nice to have against Centaur. If you just have a bunch of slows, then Centaur is fantastic versus that. Another smoke from LGD, again from their own woods. They're going to look for an opening. But it's the Bristleback they're going on him. He's getting to that point where he starts to be tanky. The ultimate's now skilled up. He's got a single point in Bristleback, and he's also hugging his tower. So if they want to dive this one, they're really going to have to commit for it. And they will. He's down in the river. Yao will come forward. He's going to Remnant. He throws everything at YYF. He's left nothing in reserve. Sunstrike looks to turn this, drops everyone low. Yao now in pursuit. They need this Bristle kill. They need it fast. They will. Now they get another Remnant cooling down. Yao will retreat out. DD and DDC so low, still alive. And now they might turn this one. They've got another arrow in 2 seconds. Do they look for 430? Do they look for Chuan? Oh, they accept their win. That was really close.
Very surprised that LGD decided to make that goal without Stampede.
There is Sunstrike in 8, so DD maybe gets caught out here. Let's see how well he can juke this one. He's heading back towards the fountain on the Vengeful Spirit, but that Invoker can fire a shot if he wants.
Looks like he's not going to go for it.
You never know, man. Not until you're out of the death range. He's not going to.
That is the spot to pause, though, because most Invoker generally expect you to go further in.
Yeah, just at the boundary of the fountain, really. Bottom lane, they've made a rotation. IG, Bridian 3. And the nice thing there was that was a really good time to fight. You know Chronosphere's on cooldown, so you know IG really don't have much counter initiation. And on the back of that, LGD, after what could have been a rough start, have turned it around nicely. They're actually leading here in gold and experience. And the big item is the Blink on Centaur. And Lumi, he's got it in 20 gold.
Yeah, the big difference in Blink this game versus the first game that we saw LG play is that you don't have the backup of insane burst damage from the Invoker. You have it from, I guess, Vengeful Spirit, you have it from Mirana, but these are very level starved support. So I think Rabbit this game has to do a lot more than Lin in the last. With that said though, you also have Yao helping you out with the damage out, but I think the explosiveness of Centaur in this game is going to be a lot less than Game 1.
For now, they sit back. They actually got the Blink, and you know the ideal way to use this is if you can Stampede and set up kills on multiple areas of the map. But unfortunately, against the Void, it's so risky. You go in for the combo, and if he backtracks out a nuke, then you're probably not getting the kill. They're going to rotate in more, though, with the Venge here as well. They might have the burst they need. There's no ward to spot off this rotation, and now they can jump. They'll go in with the Stampede, followed up. Is he going to backtrack? Oh, no, he doesn't. And that's the death of 430. If you backtrack the double edge, you probably lived through that one, but the dice not with him there.
430 saw that Blink Daggers, and I'm surprised that he just kind of waltzed up to the creep wave and started hitting creeps, because that could happen.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
It's the, I guess it's the choice. Do you just not farm at all whenever any support is missing, or do you take a risk and try to get something off the map? And, well, he rolled wrong that time. But he'll have more chances this game, and I'm really curious, I think above all else, to see how the Ember works out, because God's touched on this, but it's really not a hero that LGD run. You've got 430 as probably the best Ember Spirit player in all of China, and one of the best in the world, but outside of that, I don't feel like any of the other players really run it at the same level. So I'm looking forward to seeing how it develops. For now, it's DD who gets caught. Can he get off the stun? No, just straight into the chrono. Grab it. Can he back this one up at all? Nothing he can do. Can't stampede out of that chrono. Arrow, though, will look to turn it. The Void's actually jumping back in. This causes the arrow to miss. They weren't expecting this level of aggression from IG, and so they pay. They give up another kill.
They really should have saw YYF coming. They
actually have a late ward.
Yeah, they had a ward seeing that, yeah. But
yeah, both teams have pretty good vision of this jungle. It's been a hotly contested area. Now, bottom will be the contested area. DD moves through the trees, and this will prompt Luo to just sit back for now. He's quite worried about the gank potential.
And one thing I've noticed from Nulo from all these 3 games, his map awareness just absolutely intense. Like, game number 1, when he expected the games coming, he was playing the safe lane Venomancer, just drop wards everywhere. The gank never came his way.
Yeah, he was sitting like right around here on the top lane, up near the trees of the tier 1, and he'd just be dropping wards all around the tree line. So if you want to dive him, you just got to go for it. You're not going to sneak up on him.
Yeah, especially against a lineup that is gank intensive, like the Centaur, the Venge, and the Mirana. Anytime you could prevent these kills from happening, they kind of pay their bills with the kills, and if you don't give them the kills, they're not going to be that effective as heroes in the mid game. With that said, though, there is a lot of positional advantage being gained by LGD after starting to threaten that tier 1, and IG is making really no trade, no movement anywhere.
Yeah, and there's really not been much pressure from IG. It's all about the chrono for them. Beyond that, they have a very strong dual roaming support duo, but it's at the point now where your roaming just kind of falls off. You've got to go for the Centaur, or otherwise he can stampede his teammates out of most trouble, or at least get them to a point where you can counter-initiate, and they just don't have a reliable jump like the Centaur. The only one is the Void, but with chrono on cooldown, if you go in, you do it at great risk. And LGD are punishing that. They take the tier 1 bottom, and like you said, begin to just gain more and more map control. And the other beautiful thing about the Venge pick, the analyst touched on some of the strengths, is your dire side, this is going to open up Roche for you, even just with a single point in Wave of Terror, a point in the Venge and Sorrow. So if they win a few more fights, we're looking at LGD looking to take that one out. But for now, it's mid they're focused on.
Under attack.
Then scouted by the Force Spirit. The double damage Centaur, though, is fairly scary. He was able to pick it up without sight of IG, so if he sees a good jump,
Radiant's bottom tower
again, the problem is he can make that jump, but his team needs to be there, and there is no Sunstrike coming out from afar. So again, Centaur is going to be able to pick up a couple kills, but probably not as nearly as good as game 1.
Now top lane is where LGD will look to leave their mark. 430 is pushing, and they're braining in the Viper. They've got 2 supports here as well, but they don't really want to commit to it. So they end up rotating, and this Observer Ward about to spot them out once again. It spotted them around at least twice already. They tried to de-ward, but they were off the mark on it. And as a result, 430 can farm much safer than what he wants to, but maybe not safely enough. There, they'd still dive in now. They're gonna let him go, and the ward really paying off once again. Now they go in mid. They know that their Stampede was used. There's no easy way out for Yao if IG want to dive this, but they also get cold feet. Both teams are, you can feel the pressure.
I think this is the first game. Well, hold that thought. Top lane, 430. They are just really patiently waiting for Magic Missile will hit that arrow, have to connect, and it will. And it's going to be 430. Can he backtrack any of this? No. Nice kill going against IG. This is the first game in the entire series where, after the laning stage, you didn't have one team just pulling really far ahead. The gold graph difference, I mean, it's a 3,000 gold lead for LGD, but nothing really insurmountable. And I think we're really set up for a very exciting mid to late stage of the game where both teams are evenly matched in terms of space, items, gold. And hold that thought. Top lane.
Here we go. On the lane they move with the Mystic Flare available. Are they going to drop it? No, actually that's not level 6 yet. Just the Sunstrike that comes out. They need that extra damage from Tron, and without it they just can't get this kill. They're still diving Lin, but that would not be a good play. They'll be forced to retreat. We're already 13 minutes in, and no level 6 on the Skywrath Mage.
I like how Tron lost more health than the Viper after that game. It's in terms of the HP bar.
It's getting to be pretty late, and with Chronosphere, you've got amazing setup for Sunstrike as well as Mystic Flare, but They need both to finish the job. Well, he's going to be looking for it soon. But while he's busy looking for that, LGD are pushing in mid. And actually Yao is getting aggressive here. He's going to try to zone some heroes off the lane. Clear out the wave, he'll zip out. The Alk stun will tumble towards him. And it will be a bit of a nuisance. Now top. Now top we go with the Centaur. He's got Stampede ready. Tower in deny range. How are they going to go? Both teams, really they know what's at stake here. You don't want to take risks in this situation. You want clean, well-executed kills, and if you can't find them, you back off.
It looks like we're going to see Rapid going into a BKB, much similar to Game 1, although they played that game. In this game, how is BKB as good? I think BKB is actually a weaker item in this particular game because much of the damage coming out, at least in the mid game, is physical. It's going to be Invoker, right clicks, the Force Spirits, and more importantly, YYF. You know, he's going to right click so hard. I guess BKB will block mostly stuff from Chuan.
There's the Alk stun, but you still take the damage from it. So even then, it's not fantastic. I'm inclined to agree with you. I think this is more of an Aghanim Scepter game, but the point is he definitely wants to tank. You're up against Chrono. We've seen the best way to beat it is either just to prevent the Void from getting off, or alternatively to be able to tank through it. So one way or the other, he's got to outlast the damage.
Yep.
For now,
strength does go a long way.
IG feel like the more scared team to me. You see LGD getting out on the map. They're pushing in the bottom lane with the Centaur. They know when Stampede's up, unless there's a perfect Chrono, they can always disengage. And that's where your Skywrath Mage isn't necessarily the best support because he doesn't have a proper stun, so if you don't Chrono them, you can just Stampede to keep a hero out. That's why they almost succeeded on the gank mid. Stampede was cooling down, but as long as it's up, LGD, get aggressive.
I agree. I think IG is rightfully scared because it's much harder for them to get the kills. Whereas LGD, if you find one hero out of position, Blink, Stun, Magic Missile, dead. It's much easier for LGD to find these kills.
Radiant's bottom
neither
tower
team is that
under
good
attack.
at pushing, so even if you make one or two mistakes, these towers could be held for quite a bit. Well, that's the tier 1 towers are all very low health, particularly on the side of LGD. So maybe if IG could group up as 4 or 5 and then just mow down the mid tower, that can open up the Roshan for their mid-game play.
That is so dangerous against the Centaur, the Viper, who's getting to be very tanky now, and just their initiation power. Like you said, anyone gets caught, they're just dead, and it's not a risk IG want to take yet. It seems both teams are expecting this game to go a bit later. You've got a Sentry Ward down in the Radiant Ancients to try and prevent the Alchemist Acid Spray farm. And simultaneously, you see a late Midas, in fact, quite a late Midas being built by 430. Oh no, maybe not. Casual Gloves of Haste, and then he's going to go back for Morbid Mask. I think he was looking for Midas, but just decides it's too late to go for one. I need to be able to help my team out here.
Or maybe he got the Morbid Mask first and now going into the Midas?
It's possible.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly.
That's going to be that's like a 20-minute Midas at that point.
I mean, if you know the game is going to be holds down that pace, right? Like, it's not a bad investment. With that said, though, LGD is definitely not going for late game. Because Centaur is picking up the mid-game BKB. We're going to see Viper, picking up the mid-game Aghanim Scepter, so...
And we're going to see our first movement in a long time. The Alk and the Skywrath are heading smoked up and towards the top rune, now past it, and all the way to the top lane, in fact. And they're looking for the Ember. But they need the silence to come out instantly. Otherwise, if he's got a Spirit, he can just zip away. And he's got one back in his tower. Will they find the opening? In comes the Chrono. It's a perfect one. Now the Mystic Flare. But actually, Fate's going to walk into the Chrono. It won't matter. He may pay with his own life for this. Yeah, he will. Rabbit comes in, finds the retaliation. It is a 1-for-1, but they lose the Ember for only a support out. So you've got to give IG the win there. But not if this happens. YYF gets arrowed mid. Now the swap back into tower range, straight into a Venge stun. Now does back up, but there's more support coming. Rabbit's on the way. He get double edge here, and they'll finish the job. So LGD get a little bit more than they bargained for with another great arrow.
They actually get the tower denied mid as well, so a pretty decent win. And it's really up to IG to at least force out a little bit of damage on that tier 2 top.
Middle tower is under
tier 1
attack.
though might be a little bit trouble mid.
Radiant structures.
And this is where I'm really looking for Luo to try and apply some pressure. He's got to buy time for 430, or Ferrari 430. He's just not farming well on the board right now. Get the Necro 3 up, start pressuring tier 2s, and try and draw LGD back a bit. But for now, LGD taking the bigger objective. They get the tier 1 mid, and they also get the tower deny that you mentioned, finally claiming it here. So the gold will swing a bit more their way. It's still a slight lead though, Lumi. They're only up by 3,000 gold, 1,000 experience. It's something that can be turned in a single team fight.
There's more tower kills being done by... Actually, the tower is completely even. I'm surprised that IG is...
But there was the deny, I guess.
Yeah.
So in that sense, it's a slight lead for LGD.
And IG does have the Midas, at least one,
Dire's
to keep
bottom
them up.
tower is under
But
attack.
back to your point of Ludo split pushing, I'm not sure whether he could do it as confidently as game 1, as we see DD just stalking Chuan.
Just because of the Centaur?
Yeah, the Centaur, like, you just get picked off.
Yeah, he's trying to though, man. He was getting up there in the bottom lane. He was at least like a couple screen lengths away from the tier 2 towers. The tier 1 had already fallen. DD's still camping the Ancients. He's gonna manually body block these. And this is really damaging IG's economy. This is one of the beauties of running Alk. We actually see, oftentimes VG Gaming will run it actually as a solo mid for Super, but one of the main benefits is you can just stack and farm Ancients and you get a quick level 4 Acid Spray with the solo experience. And then, even if you don't farm well on the way, you catch up later. But with the sentries and the body blocks, it's not very quick farm for them. They've got to know something's going on here, though. It's been blocked quite a few times now.
So, since we're at a very slow stage of the game, do you feel like there's any big spike in power on either team when they pick up an item? Last game I was harping on, the blink on Earthshaker that LGD had needed to pick it up to win a fight, but it seems like this game, there's really not a single item that really changes the scale of the game.
I'm really not sure. Rabbit's getting towards a BKB, but there's still answers for that in the Chronosphere. I think that might be the biggest one. Your Viper's just going to build tanky. He'll just be a bit harder to kill in Chrono. Necro 3 will help you push faster, gain some map control perhaps, but the only hero that Monoburn's going to be amazing against is really the Centaur, maybe the Ember, whose monopool isn't the best. What do you think? Is there one item that turns this? I feel like it's more just the execution. Who gets a good Chrono, or conversely, who gets a great stomp, if LGD can find that.
Yeah, I'm also thinking that, I mean, maybe, let's say we're in it for the long run, 40 more minutes of gameplay. I say Yao finishing his battle period is pretty big in the sense that you can farm faster, but that's pretty much it. Also, as we see the entire LGD team get it driven off, Chuan getting the early gem, I think that's actually a huge item pickup. Being able to wrestle for map control here at this point of game and basically limit the movement of LGD, preventing that roach from happening, for example, that's the something that you don't see this on the scoreboard, but really matters hugely in a slow game like this.
Yeah, and speaking of which, it's also worth noting that Ferrari 430 did not go for the Midas in the end. So you still accelerate your farm quite a bit with Mask of Madness, but if you're angling for the late game, you'd rather get the Midas into the Mask of Madness. So he won't be as farmed as he could be, and now LGD will smoke. They're going to find at least IG mid if they stick around, and potentially some kills off of that, or do they just go into the pit? There's a Forge Spirit here, so if they want to do it, they're going to have to wait it out. I don't think they'll kill the Roach that quickly, even with IG here. Well, maybe now with the Medallion they can do it in time. It's dropping a lot faster with that. And it seems IG are just too late. They'll Sunstrike.
Trying to check, they could actually get here in time, and I think if you're LGD, you need to back out.
Oh, I don't know about that. It's going to come down to the wire, but they are getting close. 430's in position. Can leap in momentarily. LGD get real nervous. They'll retreat out. But this Roche is at the point where I think one team's just going to go in and try and claim it. It's too low to leave alone.
IG, you go in, because Bristleback can solo it.
Don't forget about the Centaur. Here comes the Chrono. It's only found one. It's pretty much useless. Chrono's on the tankies here as well. The Viper. Oh no. Now Rabbit turns. He's got the BKB. Fights one, but IG sneak the Aegis, and LGD have got to get more for giving that up. It's Aegis. It's as well as going to be the Roche Gold. But they'll get Faith too. So it's a 2 for nil exchange. And then the Roche. Aegis going the way of IG.
Sunstrike. Very surprised that we saw Ferrari pressing the button there. He could have easily just stood and just waited for LG to come in. Should they come in, Chrono, security Roche, and just run. But he actually initiated with it. I think still IG got the better trade. They got the kill on the Roshan, which matters quite a bit. They did lose Ferrari though. But having the Aegis is a pretty big deal for the next fight. Should there be a fight? Maybe there won't be, because we are playing in a very slow and steady pace of this game.
Yeah, and this is where it just buys them time to get their next item. So now the BKB on YYF might be finished, and you can kite him really well with the Viper, just with a single Viper strike. He's pretty much out of the fight. You can also use Stampede to get out of the way, but it means that they can't really kill him. They don't have that much physical damage yet. The Ember is working towards the Battle Fury. It's still not there, and even then, he's going to be pretty tanky. The one thing, well, actually, yeah, they do have a mech as well. So between the BKB and the mech, you're not killing YYF quickly. He can be in the front lines, tank up, and allow the Faceless Void to look for a good Chrono instead of just having to force one to start the fight. Overall, denying the Aegis to LGD is huge as well. Now they can't push with that.
I do think that LG does have deceptively more damage than they're showing, because Avenge gave you some, the minus armor, the Medallion, obviously the Sleight of Fist ignoring armor on the on the splash hits of Battle Fury. It's like random stuff here and there. It's not exactly anything to write home about. That's not right now.
There is Nether Toxin as well, so if in a longer fight, if he lives through it, it can turn, and he's getting to that point where he's almost bound to live. Picks up an Aghanim Scepter now, too. This tier 1 bottom, about to get into deny range. In fact, it is now, so...
Oh, Sunstrike. Easy kill mid lane. It was 2 Forge Spirits, 2 Necrobooks chasing a Venge, and when the Venge runs in a straight line,
Dire's
it's easy kill.
That's the kind of thing you see a lot from Ice Ice Ice. Like, the hero won't even be there. It's just the Forge Spirits and sometimes the book setting up for the Sunstrike. And so it's like a no-risk kill attempt. If you don't hit it, oh well. But Rabbit, he's spotted out a gank here, and he will retreat.
I found it quite cute that Luo got the kill halfway across the map, still got the Vengeance Aura debuff on him. Because she don't mess around.
That's pretty intense.
Sunstrike, again.
And if we're going for late game, then our Ancients will be important. I mentioned that IG's Ancients have been blocked. LGD's have not, at least not now. They've got a double stack up. Are they going to look to farm them? The Bristleback can definitely clear those if he gets a chance. The Auk's fantastic at it as well. And I'm surprised neither team has tried to do more with the Ancients, but they just seem to be very, very nervous about getting caught in a precarious position. So they try to run around as 3, 4, even 5. Seems now LGD will go in as a group. Now the Battle Fury's done with the Ember, and they'll stack it once more, then look to clean it out.
Yeah. I think LGD did try to ward IG's Ancients with a Sentry. Maybe they've timed out since...
Yeah, they did that a few minutes ago. Here comes 430, though. And they've got a Forge Spirit here, giving them some vision. This means 430 wants to go. They're gonna. LGD aren't gonna let this go uncontested though. Arrow comes in, finds Fade to start the fight, and it's quite a choke point. 430 needs a good chrono. He finds a great run on 3. The meatball comes through as well and rolls onto 2. Now 3 with the Deafening Blast, but LGD stand. Take the damage, the Stampede will keep them alive. Lin drops low, not finished off, and now Rabbit's back. He's with a Vengeance as well, looking for the stop. He gets YYF. Remember, that's the Aegis carrier though. You don't want to focus too much on the Bristle. Chuan's an easier kill if you can find him, but they don't go for him. And YYF still stands strong. Everything thrown out pretty much by both teams, but no real kills.
Oh, Bench. Gotta be careful of that Sunstrike.
Now she'll be nervous.
4 Spirits are there, that's gonna get sight.
Hold me, says DD. Okay. Hold me, Rabbit. And Rabbit will hold him.
They protected the Ancient Sack, sort of. Like they got the 2 big creeps, which I guess matters the most. What we saw out of that fight is that both team is extremely tanky. It didn't help the fact that IG threw everything they had on a fairly tanky Viper. He just kind of shrugged that off.
And then the same thing happened for LGD. Everything went to YYF, who not only is tanky, but also has an Aegis as well. So it ended up being a 0-for-0. But like you said, LGD preserved their own Ancients, which is very important in a game that it appears to be heading a bit longer than most of those today. The map still pretty safe for both teams. Tier 2 standing, all 6 in fact. So even a 1 fight or 2 is not going to mean the end of the game. You'll have some second chances here if you're IG or LGD, but only within this game. Beyond it, the loser goes home.
Yeah, I think as the game goes on longer and longer, 430 is becoming more of an issue for LGD because he's farming very far off the map. You have a Centaur, you're supposed to at least prevent that through the fear factor, right? You cannot allow 430 to just kind of roam around farm. He's going for a Maelstrom, which is going to increase his farm rate. I felt that as good as the Centaur played in the early stages of the game, he's not really being a big factor in this mid game. Mostly due to the nature of the game, I would have to say. But
a lot of it's vision. If you toggle on LGD's vision right now, they are very much in the dark. They've got the 1 lane ward all the way at the top tier 1, but that's it. Their entire jungle's pretty much blocked off, and they're out of tier 1 tower. So if they want to make moves, they have to do it pretty much blind, and that is a very risky maneuver.
It was mostly due to the early gem pickup coming out from LGD or IG. LGD have since gotten the gem though.
IG are smoking.
Wait, actually, where is the gem from IG right now? Is it back in the courier?
DDC is sitting on a gem, but that's his own.
Yeah, that's his own gem.
Yeah, they may have just de-warded with it, and then...
Yeah, it's back on the courier now. It's at the secret shop.
Sunstrike. Oh, TD. He almost died at the neutrals here. Was fighting his out. Oh, 430 comes in. He's going to look for Chrono. They find Lin barely on the boundary of that Chrono. He's tanky, and he's actually taking up the first kill goes the other way. Now Ember comes through and tries to trade for this one. They swap Lin a bit further out, but the Bristle just keeps on driving. Jams it in, Rabbit will, with a great double edge. And now the follow-up. It's Chuan who's next. He wanted more from the Centaur. And Lumi, you're getting it. That's a 3-for-1.
I mean, it's a 3-for-1, but I don't think they're going to do anything with this. They're going to kind of...
They're going to farm with
Yeah,
this.
they're going to go back and farm.
Yeah, this is where you say, great, now we've got probably a Crystallis on Yao. Yeah, it's coming out now in the Courier. So you get a little bit more farm on your Ember, and you slow down the Void. Just keep on farming, play for late game.
It surprises me that IG is going for these ganks as well. I think periodically going for ganks gives you better map control, and that's all good and all. But do you feel one of these teams have the better late game?
They're both really strong late game. That's a tough question to answer. I always want to say the team with the Void has a shot late game, if nothing else. A good chrono can always turn it, but they both have really good minus armor from the Alki and the Venge. You've got a ton of physical damage on both teams, heroes that scale well with farm. I'd maybe give LGD a slight edge, just because they've got a tri-core that all hit hard, and Bristleback, at some point, Ember can just start cleaving him down with the crit. I think it's close, Lumi.
I think it's really close as well. I'm leaning more towards the side of IG, so that's why I was surprised that they're making these type of ganks, because to me, I think they can sit back and play for the late game with the Chronos.
Can they keep up in farm, though? I think that's the one issue.
I think so. You have Midas on the Invoker. That's an automatic Hex carrier, which LGD does not have the luxury of as a late game tool. 430 has a Maelstrom and Master Madness, so he farms extremely fast as well. I mean, right now LGD is working on a very healthy goal lead, but look, 5,000 is really nothing.
This Centaur is getting pretty gargantuan, though. Now he picks up a Shiva's Guard. It's getting to the point where you just can't chrono and kill Viper or Centaur.
Yep.
We saw in that fight they couldn't kill Viper. I think Centaur's going to be there very soon. He doesn't have corrosive skin, but he's just not an easy one to bring down. And on top of that, they have other answers for the chrono. They've got a Sange on the Venge, and they have level 2 swap. So I think that's my big worry for IG is if they get a good chrono, obviously they always have a shot, but getting a good one and then killing that target during the chrono is much more difficult in this game than in most others.
Yeah, I like to see that 430 prioritize on the Viper much less, because 2 chronos in a row really not doing anything. And they really, when you chrono a Viper or anybody, you force your team to commit every spell.
Who do you go on? Ember's obviously great, but very difficult to catch. And if you can't get him, let's just say you can't.
Yeah. Honestly, Venge.
She has 1,700 health.
Venge or Mirana, I think you pick off the supports because the cores are just too hard to kill.
This Venge is one of
She's also has 1,700.
I know, that's what I'm saying. She's got a Sange, an Urn, and Power Treads. And if you do manage to kill her, then your team does a lot less damage. Now there's a level 3 Vengeance R, which applies that negative debuff against the enemy team if they kill her. I just don't know. I think it's at the point where there's no great one-hero chronos. Like, maybe the Mirana if you just find her on her own. But otherwise, you need a 3-4 hero, and you've got to just focus everyone down with AoE.
They're coming to fight.
LGD are ready for this, though, and they might just jump in with the Shivas. The BKB is available as well, and 430 is dangerously close. Who gets the jump? Who gets it? Nobody yet.
Nobody gets the
Come
jump.
on, guys. You can't leave me hanging like that. But they are for now. And now the Roche respawn. They're actually going to just casually Viper strike some creeps mid. Lin, anything to push this wave out and deal with the Forge Spirits.
Again, something that you mentioned earlier, IG's playing blind. They just dropped one Observer Ward and they see nothing.
Earlier it was LGD, but they managed to get the lanes pushed out, which is why we see them having a lot more vision.
A little bit D-Ward now, YYF holds to the gem.
And the good old Roshan standoff commences. And this is where you'd like having a hero like Ember, Morphlane, maybe even Storm, someone that can push the lanes and quickly join the fight from afar. There is a Spirit in the pit now. It's going to expire fairly soon. So he may have to TP out of this, but this is the dire side. You're always going to have a shot mid lane. Are they going to go in? DD getting close to a level 2 swap. They wanted to fight that one, but IG will back off. And now they get an Invis rune on Yao. Remember, there's a medallion in the bench. This Roche will drop quickly.
Right now,
LGD commit.
Yeah, they're going in. This is a very smart push, because if you look at the top lane, that's being pressure. So IG's really forced to take a ton of tier 2 damage from prevent Roche.
What's your choice, IG? They got to decide soon, and they pop the Mask of Madness on 430. Now they want to go, but it's actually LGD who jump in first. They stampede.
Okay, never mind. Let's go
Everybody
back.
run around.
Run.
Oh, do nothing. Now let's back.
What a game, guys.
They stampede. They all start running. They're like, oh shit, where are we running? Let's back. So there's still a chrono ready. And with Stampede on cooldown, if IG were going to pick a fight at the pit, this is the ideal time to do it. You've got 35 seconds and counting.
Radiant's
but
top
the issue
tower
is, I don't
under
think they
attack.
kill Roche quickly enough. Not with LGD threatening to go in. Well, for now, everyone thinking Roche, but nobody doing it.
Also, 430 hasn't been hitting a creep for like the past 3-4 minutes. His net worth is actually abysmal. So maybe if you remove the Void out of the equation as a late game contender, maybe IG just doesn't have the better late game.
Yeah, and he's just not farming that much, to be honest with me. He's sitting at 7.5K net worth. The Tri-Core of LGD are all up there at 12K. And finally, Rabbit, he goes in now, and it's a double edge. Shiva's guard as well. At 430, he leaps in, but he can't find a chrono. And now Lin can lock him down here with a Viper Strike in 5 seconds. It's not coming yet. They'll throw out everything on Lin, but he's still at half HP. Now the Mascara, though, it's not going to matter, because DD was there with a great defensive swap. They can't even kill the Bench. They're just too tanky on LGD. Now the arrow and the leap forward. It's 3 down. IG are melting. They lose 4. They're going to lose the Roche as well. LGD are just too tanky. A one-man chrono isn't good enough. Not this game and not this late.
Yeah, we're starting to see the weakness of a Void that doesn't have items, doesn't have right-click damage, and when you don't land those chronos, he really contributes very little to the fight. I thought the swap on the bench was not even necessary because Viper looks like he was going to tank through it, but hey man, they made the fight work. They got a 4-man wipe and the Aegis. If LG wants to sit back and play the long game, they can, but might as well get a tier 2 out of that. You can see that Xiao Chuji, he's just waiting for somebody to TP. No, he's waiting for his team, okay. And are they going to push this?
Well, there's still 3 dead here. You've got the Void with 1 second respawn, but 2 cores with 10, so they'll at least chip away at the tier 2 mid. Glyph is available, but if you're IG and you glyph now, and then you go on to lose a fight in the next few minutes, then you're risking a high ground push and a potential loss later Rax. They will glyph. They will try to hold.
I think if you're LGD, you might as well siege for a little bit longer. No, they're going to turn to top and get a much easier tower.
So in the back of that one fight, we're looking at 4 kills, a Roche kill, and probably 2 tier 2s as well. That is a gargantuan gold swing in LGD's favor.
Yeah, and gold, especially a spike of gold like this, is a big deal, especially for heroes that are trying to complete items. But looks like IG don't want to give this one for free. Or will they? No, they're giving this one for free. So, Daedalus has picked up as a result of that fight. Lin is going to have his heart finish. DD's going to have his Heaven's Halberd. Rabbit, maybe if he wants to pick up a Reaver into his heart, that's going to be there as well. And stack being stolen. What is this, like a 7K gold difference in swing after that Roshan fight?
It's really looking good for LGD now. You can't say less without lying to yourself. They haven't won it yet, but they've got full map control. They've got an Ember Spirit who's working towards his 3rd damage item. And already with Daedalus, as well as Battle Fury, he hits extremely hard. Plus, as you mentioned, you have to factor in the Venge. She's got Wave of Terror, level 3 Vengeance Heart, and soon these 2 abilities will be maxed if they keep on taking fights, at which point Ember can just cleave through your backlines with ease. Chuan is 850 health. He's going to evaporate. Even the Alchemist with 1290, only 3 armor. He's going to be very squishy, easy to kill. And the Void with Mask of Madness, if the backtrack luck isn't with him, he's quite killable as well. So I look across the map and I just see a lineup that melts in the face of the Ember. And I don't know how IG can deal with that.
Yeah, with the Aegis now on the Ember Spirit, it's very hard for IG to fight into the Ember as well, so I think this is why LGD is feeling so confident in the front line and just taking towers after towers. Hex just got picked up though. Cyberlight is a late game weapon, but how will IG find a use for it is another question.
Well, they won't find a use for this tier 2 bottom. They're just going to let it go the way of LGD. That's 3 tier 2s taken unopposed, all thanks to 1 Roche fight, which was 5 minutes coming. And on the back of that LGD, they should be able to secure complete map control now. They can drop down some aggressive wards if they want. They've already got 1 up here on the hill, and they can try and bottle IGN even further. The Invoker can look to split push with the summon.
Thinking about jumping, Xiao Chuji.
Yeah,
Never mind.
He's sensing it and he's going to retreat. Oh, IG not ready to be caught, but this means that they sit on the high ground. And do LGD actually even, does the Ember even danger here? IG may be thinking about a go on him.
You can kill once.
Yeah. But unfortunately the Aegis, it's got a few minutes left, but they're not killing him twice.
I think forcing it out, if you don't use your chrono, that's the thing though, if you use your chrono to kill him, then the rest of the team says, all right, we're going to just push you now.
Yeah, you actually can't chrono there, because LGD then just go high ground bottom.
So actually, I think instead of having the Void out there, you have your Invoker out there, because using a 30-second cooldown Hex and then forcing the Roshan, or forcing the Aegis, is not bad. But you definitely cannot use your chrono.
Well, it's a risky journey Faith's making. This Alchemist has just wheedled his way up a couple of hills through the river, and now he's going to place a deep ward. This could be a very big one, but man, he walked through a lot of common ward spots to get it up.
But there was no ward.
That was like watching Frodo try to get the ring to Mount Doom, and he barely managed it. And now he's back. Now he's back home in the Shire.
I actually got that reference.
Nice.
He dropped that ward much easier than Frodo dropped the ring. Though. Like, it was just drop it, get out, guys. Let's not stay here.
It's like 20 seconds just to place a ward. That would be that'd be one way to nerf him, I suppose. And IG are just playing keep away. They're gonna keep on pressuring top while LGD just farm the enemy jungle, but they're also farming the lanes. You see DD pushing in mid, and you've got the Ember holding at the top lane. So they're effectively farming, I'd say, like 3/4 of the map. While IG, it's really only one lane, and it's the whole team backing them up. They're just getting slowly starved, and you see that reflected in the graphs. Not just the tower gold, not just the Roche, but in terms of creeps as well. They begin to pull ahead. All three of their cores topping the charts, and IG's core is a bit behind their counterparts.
Even though there is a huge goal lead, like you were mentioning, I don't see IG like losing every single fight, no matter what, right? There are multiple scenarios where IG get a good chrono and they just win the fight. And I think you can actually see the scenario first. The top lane is going to be going, yeah, they're going to actually blow the Hex, but TPs are coming in. Yao's going to run towards the team. Can they actually get the kill? It's going to be a two-man stop. Here comes CD. They're stunning 430. 430 cannot get off the chrono, so he's straight up dead, and he's going to be run, but YYF can't run anywhere. He needs to TP out, and he's dead.
That's not worth it. 2 for an Aegis, and the Aegis about to expire in looks like a minute and a half. Well, LGD will be happy with that.
And I think LGD has more than enough time to just go down mid, right? There is no buyback on Faceless Void. That is their best defense.
There is Chrono, though. Like you mentioned, using the Hex to initiate means...
No, Faceless Void's dead. There is no Chrono.
Well, for 30, but he'll be up probably in time to defend the tier 3. There's still a Glyph, and they could stall this a bit. It's better than having used the Chrono, at least. So they'll have a shot here, but Lin is pushing in aggressively. The Ember will clear out the wave, and they'll push for the high ground. It's actually a BKB that Yao went for in that fight. Not a very common Ember pickup, especially against a hero like Void. But it does protect him against the Hex of Luo. And as well as the Mystic Flare of the Skyref.
If you don't get hexed off immediately.
Yeah, also the Mystic Flare is a pretty dangerous spell to deal with, as well as the silence that can come through. But then again, Yao could really sit back, because he's got a Heart Centaur on his side. And IG, they've got to be careful. Rather than walk up to the high ground, just threatening to go in. It's Yao who sits back. He doesn't want to commit too much to this. Doesn't connect on the Searing Chains, while Lin will get stunned. Concussive shotted as well, but he's still sitting on 2.9 HP with the Corrosive Skin. They're really taking, they're just ignoring IG. The Bristleback turns his back, and now 430 leaps in. It's a nice chrono. In fact, some might say it's perfect. It finds 2, but they only bring them to half. DD and Lin, they stand strong through this. A nice defensive swap keeps Rabbit alive, and now it's a triple remnant forward. Yao's found his opening, and he starts slicing and dicing. And IG lose 3, now potentially losing their racks. If they don't have buybacks, this could be it.
Everybody's so low on the side of LGD. They do have that Urn of Shadow, and it's just doing double time duty right now.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Invoker's alive. Skywrath Mage is alive soon, or sorry, he has his cooldown back on his ultimate soon, but they just can't stop this push.
Is this the end for the last defending international champions? They won TI4, IG did. They didn't win last year, but they were looking for their second ever. Navi fell short. Alliance eliminated even sooner in the group stage, and this could be the last former international champions going out of TI. If they lose this one, which it looks they might, then we won't have a 2-time champion, at least not this year.
LGD just not stopping, even though Void's back in 4 seconds. For about 35 minutes.
They've got one last fight, and they've got to go quickly before LGD finish the racks. Chrono's not ready though, so if you go without Chrono. You almost have to stack 2 racks, but what are you waiting for at that point? Stun will come on Rabbit, but really, he's got 3,400 health. He's got a BKB if he needs it. LGD have just broken down the Faceless Void. You want to draft Mystic Flare, run a Void as your core. We're just going to build so tanky that you can't kill us. And even if you can, DD will be there with the swap to bail us out. I think they've just discovered how to deal with the Void.
I mean, most of the problem whenever you have a Void game is the Void not landing good chronos, like not on the key targets. This game, you could say that Void has always chrono 1 or 2 cores every single fight. It's just... Yeah, sure, you could chrono the cores, but you know who's going to kill them?
And there's not, and then the point is like, well, maybe you look for the backline heroes. But the backline heroes are pretty unkillable. You've got Murado get a sleep away, and DD has a Heaven's Halberd and 2100 health with 9 armor. So even if you go on him, you're not guaranteed to kill the Venge. Like, I don't think 430 could get a better chrono.
Yeah, normally in the past, when you see an Ember Spirit really being stacked, I'm talking about double Battle Fairy, double Daedalus, and he's just like killing everything. You technically always still have a chance because he doesn't have BKB. You can't even kill Ember Spirit anymore because if you chrono him, Venge is going to swap him out.
Yeah, and you're not going to catch the two of them because they're both just sitting so far away from the fight. It's Centaur and Viper in front.
If you hex him, there's Force Staff and swap. The only real way that you can kill him is Ancient Seal, because Venge most likely won't swap out Ancient Seal, but he could BKB out of that. So I think the BKB choice on Yao is actually just perfect.
It's like the trump card in some ways. Now the Centaur ultimate's used, and they're going to chase. They find one, and it's Luo. It's the Invoker, and he has buyback. So he'll have a second shot, but it means one more death, and you're looking at game. At that point, LGD will take their third lane of Rax, or maybe just skip it and go for the tier 4s. They're so close. This was a story of the second team that was nearly eliminated after the group stage. We had Newbie, who was also almost unable to advance. The same for LGD. They even had to fight through the tiebreaker, so they had the slightly tougher road than Newbie. They fell short of starting in the winner's bracket, but they're here, Lumi, with a shot to stay alive. And now Rabbit's just taunting them. He's doing a jig. It's a celebratory dance.
Don't celebrate just yet. There's going to be one more fight.
He knows it's going to be almost impossible for IG. Rabbit's not afraid. He ain't a little rabbit anymore. He's a big, bad rabbit with rabies as well. He packs a punch. And again, 430, the question, how do you initiate into this fight? Look how far back all 3 backline heroes are. If you want to go on that, you have to come from the back. But then LGD just take your axe and, while he's busy debating, they're busy fighting OBC. And PGG Chrono for 430. Not going to cut it. And now they just get melted. GG. They know it's over. LGD will move forward. They're going to the losers bracket round 2, and they've got a date with DK.
With that, IG is going home. A lot of rich history behind this team. Both in 2012 TI champion. All of that doesn't matter right now when you get eliminated by a better team.
Great performance, and this Centaur pick, I gotta say, works magnificently for them. It proved to be their big playmaker.